censorship inside of our prisons, federal and county jails. That's the topic for tonight right here from Inside Out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jay here from Inside Out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching another broadcast right here in our studios, talking about censorship. That's the topic tonight. And again, it's happening with my locked up loved one, believe it or not, and I got some proof to show you to back it up. And it's happening, believe it or not, with me too here on the outs. And I'm going to dive into that here in just a second. But the whole purpose of this podcast for tonight, guys, is to basically educate every single one of you when it comes to our First Amendment rights and all that fun jazz, when it comes to our mail and other type of communication going on inside of our prisons. And that's all of them, not just state prisons. That's including federal and county jails too as well. So I want you guys to stay tuned for some very interesting information that I'm going to read off to you guys to let you know firsthand what your rights are and if you can do anything to, fight against this corruption that we are dealing with inside of our prisons. But before I get into all those interesting details here for tonight, I want to show you my mail that I've been receiving and getting, not just from my locked up loved one, the owner and founder from Inside Out, Jay Lee, but what currently happened with me when it wasn't even mailed from prison. This is going to be an interesting podcast, and it should, in a sense anyways, kind of upset you. So I'm going to show you some evidence. First piece of evidence I want to show you guys real quick, so bear with me on this, is that you've probably seen what prison envelopes look like. They have to buy these envelopes off the commissary or the canteen, depending on where you're at and all that. But I'm going to go ahead and show you, if I can. This is, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a standard envelope. As you guys can see, there's my locked up loved one's information right there where she is currently housed. And pay attention to this right here. Oops, my bad. Trying to do this backwards. That little statement right there, okay? But I want you guys to see the envelope real quick. Look at this. I'm going to show you that I did not do this. They did this. And this is the reasoning why I'm doing this podcast here tonight. This is more, proof in the pudding, if you will, when it comes to their, what they're doing when it's outgoing mail. And again, this is outgoing mail, not ingoing mail. So in here, see, this whole thing, sorry guys, this whole thing was cut open. And I don't know if you're going to make it out or not, but there's some tape all the way across this thing. I know it doesn't do justice. It's there. Trust me, it's there. There's tape right here. So it was sealed shut. This whole thing was opened up and sent to me like this. And again, the contents were in it were pictures. That's it. Just pictures. You guys have all seen these on my Twitter account and my YouTube page on my community tab of Jay Lee. That's me in the black, and that's my sister standing next to me. And this is her right here, standing next to a flower bed at her prison. But they came to me like this, in this envelope opened up. Now, a lot of you are probably sitting there, well, they look like they're screening her outgoing mail. And technically, I'm going to educate you guys on this, let you know that if this is a violation, not a violation, First Amendment violation, and so forth, and yada, yada. But before I get into this, here's some more evidence besides this that I just got done showing you. I ended up mailing some documents. There's a lot of stuff I do behind the scenes that I don't advertise or put up on social media. All right. So I'm going to show you guys another piece of evidence that I believe this just too much of a quinkadink, if you know what I mean, when it comes to my mail and my sister Jay Lee's mail. What you're going to see here, if I can do this, bear with me, guys. Look at this envelope. Okay? Look at it. It's all ripped and everything. It came like this to me in the mail. It did not get mailed out like this. It came back to me like this. And pay attention to this little red tag right here. Not deliverable as addressed. Unable to forward. Now, first off, that could be a possibility. I'm not denying that. That could be an issue. Maybe the address was wrong. Nonetheless, that was the address that my sister Jay Lee gave me to put on the envelope and to send out. But I want you guys to understand, I didn't send it out in this condition. Look at this. It's front and back. There's the back of it. And there's the front of it. The contents are still inside, but it came in an envelope like this from the post office. They put it inside here. It's just too much of a quinky dink, if you ask me. So I feel personally that my mail is being hampered with, or toyed with, and whatnot, because this certain document that's in here, if this makes any sense to you guys, and bear with me with the quality. I don't know why there we go. I don't know what's going on with my zoom there. That was very blurry. I do apologize on that, guys. All right. Anyways, back to topic here. So as you guys can see, we're dealing with, I'll just put it this way. I got a lot of red flags flying around here, and it's just concerning. So here's the news I can update you on what's going on with our mail. It's not surprising. My sister, before I did this podcast, did talk to me on the phone, and she's going to start her own, as you like to call it, internal investigation on what's going on with her mail. Because outgoing mail, as you guys should all know, or at least anyways, should know, that it shouldn't be tampered with unless there's a gosh dang good reason why they're doing it. All right? And I'm going to prove even more with some information up on your screen, like I like to do, because I just don't like to talk it. I like to show it too as well. When it comes to the censorship and whatnot, when it comes to our locked up loved ones. So let's get into that while we're fresh on the topic real quick, guys. So as you guys can see on your screen, this is called, I want to send and receive mail in prison, which everybody has the right to do. But I'm going to go ahead and show you all of this. What you see on your screen is what I'm going to read off to you. These are facts. This is a credible website, which I'm going to show you in its entirety. If you want to know all your rights and whatnot, here they are in black and white. All right. Again, I bring nothing but truth, knowledge, and education up on this podcast. I do not and will not hype it up for whatever it's worth. All right. So here it is. I want to send and receive mail in prison. Your rights, and not just locked up loved ones' rights, including us out here on the street. We have the same rights. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding somewhere along the line that if a locked up loved one, ladies and gentlemen, is locked up, they lose all their rights. Okay? That is not even far from the truth. And we're going to get into it right now. So your rights. Number one, the First Amendment to the Constitution, which everybody should know what your First Amendment rights are. I'm not going to get into it tonight. The First Amendment to the Constitution entitles prisoners, or what I like to call locked up loved ones, to send and receive mail. It's their right. Okay? But it's also a form of communication. Keep that in mind. But the prison or jail, including federal, but it's not listed here, but federal too, may inspect. And again, I'm going to highlight the word may. May. It's not, 100% official that they're going to check your mail. They may or may not, is the point here. They may inspect, and sometimes censor. But let me highlight the word censor, ladies and gentlemen. Censor it to protect security, which I get, okay, using appropriate procedures, protocols, policies, you get it. More on that later if there's time. It says here, censor. Now, again, what would give them the reasoning, if you will, to censor your locked up loved one's outgoing mail? Well, maybe they were tipped off about something. Maybe there was some type of mail that caused it to take place. So now they got an eye on your shit. There has to be other factors that bring censorship into our outgoing or even incoming mail. Incoming is a different scenario. But I'm not here to talk about incoming. I'm here to talk about the outgoing, which raises some red flags under, however, again, I cannot stress this enough, under certain reasons, such as security reasons and other factors. What's not listed here, but other factors anyways, despite security. But security is the main key, okay? Because, just like cops say on the street, officer safety, well, again, they want to make sure that their DOC officers are safe too as well, which I get and completely understand. That's not the argument. Moving on to number 2, prison officials' ability to inspect and censor mail depends on whether, and this is what I was talking about, whether the mail is privileged or not. And then I did a podcast on this very scenario, which is the word privileged. Highlight that word real quick. What's the word privilege? What's that mean? Well, again, legal mail. Legal mail is considered privileged or sensitive mail in a sense, and DOC can't read it or look at it. The locked up individual has to open it up, though, in front of the DOC officer to look inside of it, and that's it. But they can't read the contents of it. More details on all that on one of my videos I did right on my channel. Go check it out. Carrying on here, officials may open non-privileged mail. Again, officials may. I can't stress this word enough either. May. What that means is they may or they may not. It all depends if there's a red flag been given to these guys to do so. Moving on real quick. Open non-privileged mail, which includes letters from relatives, which is me, friends, and businesses outside your presence. They can read this mail for security or other reasons without probable cause or warrant, which I get. But I just showed you at the very top portion of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, pictures in an envelope like I just showed you, okay? Like this one here has pictures in it, okay? Now, you're probably asking yourself, how's pictures a security issue? Well, I'll just put it this way to you. They'll find every means, whatever reason they can, to look into you, look into your outgoing mail. So because of this, and I'll move on here in just a second, but because of this, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be an investigation going on, finding out why this is happening. All right, but you're reading right here what it all means. Okay? Incoming or outgoing non-privileged mail may be censored for legitimate security reasons, which again, I get. However, mail may not be censored simply because it is critical of prison officials or because prison officials disagree with its content, which, believe it or not, DOC has done on some occasions. Speaking of which, the contents that are inside this envelope regarding my sister's animal abuse case, do you guys remember that? That's what's in this envelope, by the way. I haven't opened it because I want to later send pictures to my locked up loved one for evidence purposes. I haven't touched this yet, but inside, again, folks, inside, what you guys can see here, there it is, right there. The contents are still in there. So I don't know if you're able to see it or not. It's just, look, it's still in there nonetheless. All right. There's some information regarding that animal abuse case that DOC doesn't want anybody to have. That's the reason why we're doing this podcast here tonight. And again, it's just too much of a quinky dink, if you will, when it comes to me sending it out too. Because my sister tried twice to send the documents that's in that envelope to this organization or outfit, and it got censored and sent back to her. But now it also got censored and sent back to me too as well. Red flag? Possibly. Bad address? Possibly. There's a lot of other possibilities, but we're not going to know officially what's going on here until we do a deeper investigation. I'll keep you guys updated. Moving on real quick. So prisons may not ban mail simply because it contains material downloaded from the internet. You may not be punished for posting material on the internet with the help of others outside prison. Clearly marked privileged mail, meaning privilege means, again, ladies and gentlemen, legal mail and whatnot, includes communications to and from attorneys, which is why I did a podcast on this, and legal organizations like the ACLU, which is what this webpage is, gets more protection. Officials may open incoming privileged mail to check it for contraband, okay? Which, in a sense, I get. They don't want drugs or cell phones or other type of material in their prisons, all right? We all know how that's getting in there. More on that later if there's time. But just look at this stuff, guys, and here's proof in the pudding. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this easy for you guys. Here, this is what I'm going to do. Oops, my bad. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, here we go. So moving on real quick. Officials may open incoming privileged mail to check it for contraband, but must do so in your presence, meaning the locked up loved one individual's presence. They are not allowed to open outgoing privileged mail. Do you see what I just see? They're not allowed to, again, they are not allowed to open privileged mail. Okay, privilege means legal mail. Privileged mail ordinarily cannot be read unless prisons officials obtain a warrant allowing them to do so. And they better have one. If your incoming mail is censored, both you and the sender are entitled to notice. We have a right to know why. The notice must explain the reasons for the censorship in enough detail to allow you to challenge it. Meaning, you have a right to fight it. Okay? Now, here's the question. What do you do if you think your rights have been violated? Great question, right? Here's the answer. Again, I've told you guys on numerous occasions on what to do. So here's the proof. If you've got more questions regarding this, I'll answer it the best I can. If you believe your rights with respect to mail have been violated, you should file a grievance, which I cannot stress alone. Grievance. And you got to do a buttload of them. It kind of basically leaves you a paper trail and evidence and again, you got to exhaust this. You got to keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. You cannot stop once you start. You should file a grievance and appeal it through all available levels of appeal. Once that's done and it doesn't get nothing, no more leeway than that, then you can file a lawsuit and go from there. These are all steps that you have to follow. Note that there are usually strict time limits for filing grievances. Absolutely. Okay? Strict time, oh, my bad. Time limits. Okay? So act according. So you should do so as soon as possible. You don't want to delay. You should file a new grievance for each incident. If it continues, another grievance, another one, and another one. I know it's repetitive, boring, and some of you may think it's stupid, but it pays off in the long run, trust me. You have a better chance of succeeding in a lawsuit. There you go, boom. if you can establish that the prison's violations of your rights are the result of outgoing policy practice rather than isolated incidents. And again, additional resources, ladies and gentlemen, which is right here in front of you. Prison Legal News is another place where you can get information and help and guidance. And the Jailhouse Lawyer Manual or Handbook, I've done a podcast on this. Great detailed information in that manual. You can download that off the internet for free on a PDF file form, and you can own it yourself and also sending them to your locked up loved one. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of information here. And this website is called, let me get it all the way to the top here, ACLU. Write this down. I'll try to put the link in my description of this video here tonight. Okay, ACLU. These guys are hella well known for helping people out when it comes to our locked up loved ones and their rights. Great resource. Go check them out. Okay? So, I always do that. I'll get this down eventually, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, you guys can see that's exactly what we're dealing with right there is, you know, if you subject your, your locked up loved one's mail being hampered with, toyed with, like this. Again, I'll show you with proof. The whole thing's being wide open, been slit clear across from one corner to the next. Sometimes it's on the sides, like here, which are opened up on the sides. There's tape here too as well, and there's tape here too as well. There has to be a good enough, substantial amount of reasoning why they are checking your outgoing mail. And I told you what your rights are, ladies and gentlemen, if it happens or continues. So again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get your grievances filled out correctly. You don't want to miss that up. There's procedures and way of going about things, or your lawsuit, if you're trying to file one, will not be fruitful. Okay? So gather all evidence you can. File your grievances, do it by the book, step by step, and you might get somewhere. But ladies and gentlemen, these podcasts are done for a lot of reasons. I do these podcasts because I believe education is key. Because you're not going to get this anywhere else, technically. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other prison podcast type shows out there that are doing something similar to what I'm doing, with all due respect. But I think theirs is more of an entertainment aspect than it is educational. So again, if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel if you want to hear and see more of this type of information when it comes to our locked up loved ones in our prisons. That, again, that's not just the state level, that's federal level, and also all the way down to county jails. Every single one of them is different, but every single one of them have a certain policy that they're supposed to abide by. If they break it, you, my friend, can go after them. Make sure if you do it right, just like I showed you on the screen. So if, ladies and gentlemen, if you think your locked up loved one's mail is being tampered with and looked at for no real apparent reason, unless they got written reason and proof why they're doing it, start your lawsuit, start your grievance, get the paperwork going. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns regarding this podcast, put it in the chat tonight, or reach out to me at my email address at voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my email is voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Get a hold of me if you got something going on, you got questions, you got concerns related to your locked up loved one. I'm here to help. With that said, this is going to sum it up for this podcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you're new here, please sub, like, share, comment. Get all this stuff out there so somebody else can get educated on these type of podcasts. With that said, I'm your host, Jay. I will see you all on the next podcast. Good night, everybody.